right, NAIA football fans, this is Corey Thorpe back with another edition of the NAIAF Ball live show powered by AdCraft Custom Apparel and Merch, the best in the business for custom apparel, merch, and heck, everything else since 1974. Sorry we're running a little late tonight, but we got everything going. We have the band back together again. Obviously, I can't tell time. But we are back at our normal time this week, and we'll get with the getting, starting with the early game where it sounded like there might have been three teams involved, Matt, here between Marion and Concordia, but with 14 penalties for 132 yards on one end and 4 penalties on the other end, there may have been a third participant in this game.
You think?
It's a possibility.
Possibility. Even then, Marion, I mean, this was just an insane bloodbath defensively. Both very stout units. And I feel like, honestly, even though this was a loss for Concordia, I feel like this is a game everybody should be looking at as like proof that this Concordia team is for real. Obviously, 14-7 is against a very powerful Marion team is nothing to scoff at. And I think having that reference for an NAIA opponent, obviously Concordia went and beat Wayne State D2 team. That can be hard to gauge sometimes. So as much as it would have been nice to see Concordia win, I've been very high on them this year. I think this is still proof that they're a very good team, but obviously Marion is still Marion.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't drop Concordia a whole lot, and I mean, I don't know where Marion is in the coaches poll. They really have not moved off of that 5 spot in ours like the entire year, as everyone else kind of moves around and jumps and you know, kind of elbows around. They're just sitting there steady as she goes at 5. I mean, Keegan LaBelle, though, dude, 15 attempts, a $126 and a touchdown is insane. Especially for a guy who wasn't getting full-time touches coming into the game.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that was the difference maker right there. Zach Bundelow, obviously 6 for 12, 91 yards. Not his best showing against a really good Concordia defense. In a game where, you know, Concordia's Gavin Brooks also throws 2 picks. Like, you need a guy to be able to capitalize. And if it's not Zach, Keegan LaBelle stepped up big time for this team.
Little Charles Salary Jr. is what I hear on that. The small fire hydrant back that will make you pay if you try to tackle him.
Yeah, I believe it with a stat line like that in a game like this. Yeah.
Going from that upper Midwest into the breadbasket of America, man, Southwestern is no longer perfect.
Yeah. I was honestly very surprised by this. Southwestern seemed like the steadiest team in the conference at this point. Obviously, Friends has been extremely impressive this year, but for Cavante Baker to go 4 for 4 for 2 touchdowns, 120 yards, and 120 more yards on the ground with 2 more touchdowns, like, what do you even do? Like, that is just so impossibly hard to stop if you're Southwestern, and it showed on the scoreboard. I mean, a 15-point win. Extremely impressive against what we have as a top 10 team. This Friends team is for real. And if you haven't been on that train, better get on now because that thing is running. And they're running wild right now. Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, I looked up, down, and sideways on the score, on the box score, and just had a really tough time trying to figure out. I mean, look, if you win by 2 scores, I ought to be able to tell why you won by 2 scores. I mean, I went back and forth and back and forth. The 2 interceptions that Southwestern threw, I think both of them ended in fumble for Friends. So it's like there's no advantage there. The red zone chances were equal. They were within 5% of each other on 3rd and 4th down conversions.
And both teams converting more than half the time, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes you look at the box score and you're like, I don't know what to tell you. All I know is that one team scored 5 times, and the other one scored 3. But Friends comes out with it, and they were jacked up on Twitter. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, this team is for real, man. It is just wild.
We knew
Absolutely wild.
it wasn't going to take long for them to get going, but I don't think we thought it would be this soon in year
Yes.
2 like this. I mean, you're talking about swapping a whole offensive identity to triple option, that flex bone. You think that should take more than a year and a half, but apparently not.
Apparently not. And at this point, it's their conference to lose right now.
Yeah, basically, you've got that tiebreaker there. We go from that to a game where it was pretty apparent why one team won. 44-7, Bethel takes care of Roosevelt. Joaquin Collazo, man, 23 of 35 for 367, 3 touchdowns. Offense holds the ball for 37 minutes. That's
insane. I think Bethel must have heard me talk about how Roosevelt always just sneaks into the top 25 every year and is one of the sneaky teams. And they said, actually, no, I think Matt's wrong here. Because this was a beatdown. Like I don't even have words, dude. Bethel is still a very legit team. Obviously, their one loss against Georgetown doesn't help them out a whole lot, but they are still proving why they are a top team in the NAIA.
defense was great. 97 yards on 48 plays is just that's a ferocious defense. That's absurd. That's how you get 37 minutes of time of possession. Offense can't move the ball.
Yeah. J.D. Dixon also going for 7 catches for 150 yards for 2 touchdowns. That'll help you put up some points. Not that they had any trouble putting up points in this game, obviously, but certainly helps.
Does indeed. Game that up in the Rockies, I tell you, Montana Western had this like 27 to 6 in the fourth quarter, and I'm like, oh dear, Rocky's getting their tail whipped. And then Rocky comes back and makes a game of it, and Montana Western has to pull it out of their back pocket.
Yeah, Montana Western escaping this one by the skin of their teeth, and I think Rocky Mountain just cannot get a break this year whatsoever. I mean, you see up there, they're 3-4 on the year. Have played in a lot of close games. And I think it should be noted, I am pretty certain, I couldn't confirm with Cory before we started, Luke Holcomb is usually this team's starting quarterback for Rocky Mountain College, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the fact that
Braden,
Buell.
Yeah. Haven't heard a whole lot from him this season. I wish I knew. I didn't watch this game. I feel like that has something to do with it. But even then, like he still had a very, very good stat line of 26 for 39, 300 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. Maybe they're out of rhythm, but also defense is not helping them out. In this one at all. So it's hard to tell, truthfully.
Now, I will say that when you go 2 for 3 in the red zone with 2 field goals, I'll quote Steve Spurrier in that you don't win games by kicking field goals. You know, and so when you do get in the red zone, you're coming out with 3-7. That's 4 points you're giving up per trip there. So that 4-8. If you get both of those field goals into touchdowns, you win this football game. At this point in that conference, it's about the minutia, like that sort of thing. If you can get the ball across the plane, you're going to be all right.
Yeah. This game of inches is in the frontier, man.
And then we slide back into the middle of the United States where Baker establishes their dominance over Mid-America Nazarene. Mid-America's been good this year, but just couldn't get it done. The offense was adrift. Adrian Parsons, 14 of 24 for a buck 60, a touchdown, 2 picks, 3 of 15 on third and fourth down conversions. That's going to be a toughie to overcome.
That's just not going to get it done. You know who's going to get it done, Corey, is going 15 for 31 for 161 yards in the air and 167 yards on the ground for a touchdown from Truman Yulesgard. That is unreal.
That man has put his name on the map to me this season with what he's been able to do through the air and on the ground has been remarkable from a Baker team that not 2 years ago was just so reliant on the NAI's best ever running back. I mean, to be fair, the most yards in NAI history. I mean, but great job at quarterback there. So, how does that change the picture? Well, we'll get to it in a second because we want to talk about Connor Darnell Designs before we get into it. Connor's worked with us every week getting our top 25 and what to watch for, getting that going. It's been great to work with. So whether it is looking at, I guess it's nearing baseball season in terms of design work for the spring, whether it's commit graphics for those that have not committed, whether it's getting stuff out to your folks coming on official visits or unofficial visits to send out, whether it's, wishing high school recruits luck in their games or in their playoff games that are coming up and are going on. Get with Connor. He is amazing. He is NAI born and bred. My man lives and breathes the Sooner Conference over there. You won't find a better one in terms of design. So, getting to the top 25. Had a little bit of moving around here. Morningside moves back into that number 2 spot. It's been close between them and Grandview for the last couple of weeks. You'll notice Northwestern has a 5 next to their name. Someone has said, I've had enough. Carroll is number 1.
I don't know how I feel about that one. I don't think it's very accurate, but sure, we'll go with it. I mean, Carroll did escape by the skin of their teeth against an Eastern Oregon team on the road, granted, but that was a scary one for them.
Yeah,
I mean, Northwestern, Morningside, obviously. Morningside unfortunately took down my Dakota Wesleyan Tigers this weekend. I feel like I should note, though, D-Dub didn't look bad in that game.
Did we
whatsoever.
Did I miss sending you that box score for you to get me? I sure did. What a terrible person I am.
Well, do you want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it. I will find a slide to jam up here, and we'll come back to the top 25 because I have done my boy absolutely wrong. Pull up the daggum box score, and we'll talk about this. Let's see. Look, it's the first time that Morningside's been held under 30 points in a regular season GPAC game since 2016, as far as as far as I can find. Morningside does not score anything in the fourth quarter. This is not terrible. Cash Parker's 5 of 10 for 78 yards. Through the air, Lennox Brown's 3 of 3 for 13 through the air, 17 attempts for 122 and a touchdown on the ground. For Dakota Wesleyan, Austin Lee's 14 of 33 for a buck 55, 2 picks. That's not advantageous. And Jamin Aaron is 31 attempts for a buck 31, getting it done on the ground. I mean,
I should also note Jamin Aaron moving into second place all time in Dakota Wesleyan rushing history with that performance. Impressive stuff.
Only 1 sack given up by Dakota Wesleyan. On third down, 41%, although if you include the 0 for 6 fourth down, which is that's a
That's a big stat.
Yeah,
It's a big stat. Ultimately, this game just came down to Dakota Wesleyan not being able to punch it in and convert when it really mattered. I think even if you convert half of those, this is a 1 or 2 score game. Obviously, turning the ball over for Mr. Lee is not ideal either. But all things considered, offensively, you don't have your best showing, and you're still able to go toe to toe with one of the NAI's finest. It's a good showing for Wesleyan. I think for Morningside too, though, it just proves that they are still um, grind out games like this.
Yeah, I mean, turnover wise, I mean, Morningside had a pick and a fumble, so the turnover battle was even. Dakota Wesleyan keeps the ball for 35 minutes. If you convert like half of those fourth downs, we're looking at a different score line here. It's just, it's such a toughie. And I feel like for Wesleyan, I don't want to say that your ceiling is third. It might be, but you really need, if you're going to be able to go out and sell this season, I really kind of think you need to be able to beat Dort.
You have to, because otherwise you're going to have to pull some magic against Northwestern. Northwestern is very, 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 very good, better than Morningside is. So I think this is, you absolutely have to beat Dort. You have to find a way to be competitive or even win against Northwestern. I think they have the talent to do so. But a lot of things have to go their way for that to be the case. I think that Dort's loss to Midland proved that they are not the team that we might have thought they once were. Very winnable game for Dakota Wesleyan, and I think they have a good shot to finish third there.
And I think that would be a serious high water mark and something that they could definitely sell recruiting wise. Back to it here. We have a three-way tie for 11th, which is so the media poll. I don't know what is. Georgetown, Bethel, Concordia, Michigan, a three-way tie for 11th, which seems a little disrespectful to Georgetown after beating Bethel. College of Idaho, Lindsey Wilson tied it at 8th. I think we finally have the Tex West Ottawa of Arizona right.
Yeah.
Where Texas Wesleyan had beat Ottawa of Arizona. I think we finally got that flipped in the right direction.
I don't think we got a Southwestern and Friends right.
Yeah. I mean, they tied.
Sure.
They tied.
I guess.
I mean, you have, okay, so Southwestern fell 9 spots. Friends was,
yes.
Friends had like 2 votes last week. So I mean, you're coming in hot. That's a long way to piece together for those 2 squads. So I'm not gonna chirp about that one too much. Friends has got to take care of business this week coming up. As they well, we'll talk about that eventually.
I feel like we can't go without mentioning Evangel very slowly climbing up the rankings, up to 14th in our media poll.
1 rank at a time, Evangel just sort of creeps up. They've not lost a game yet.
Yeah.
Neither is Louisiana Christian, who lost 2 spots in all this kerfuffle. We'll see. Louisiana Christian and Evangel will have ample opportunity to prove that they belong in the top 10 and top 15, whatever we decide this next week. Your patience will be rewarded. So we'll step aside for just a minute after word from our friends at AdCraft.
So you want to create and sell custom merch for your team or business. That's exciting, but where do you begin? How much inventory should you order? How do you distribute orders? AdCraft has your answers. Streamline the way you offer custom merch by utilizing our risk-free web store service. We ship directly to each customer, and we have the fastest turnaround in the game. Raise funds for your team or get merch to your employees and patrons. Contact AdCraft today, and let's bring your merch to life.
I mean, they are the best in the land. There's no doubt about it. They've helped our friend John Cooper over at Franklin. They can help you. There's nothing like being able to ship to your fans, and they do that so well with their web stores. Y'all check them out. Get your web store going here soon. Now, our telemetry sports play of the week. I'm super excited. I may be a little scarred by the thought of a kick six. Thank you, Georgia Tech. But it's one of the most exciting plays in football. That and the 1-point safety are a couple of my favorites. Still waiting the 1-point safety. But this week we have a kick six, a 98-yard kick six from Bethel and Roosevelt, with Bethel getting it done. He's back at literally the 2.
Oh.
Gets the edge. This man is hitting 20 miles an hour here. Total distance, well, he's about at the 8 there, so about 114 yards on the total distance there. A great job by Demetrius Gilbert of Bethel. I tell you, that's one of the quicker ones we've seen all year.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, this play is just crazy. I mean, he almost gets tackled in the end zone for a touchback. And
wait, if he had retreated into the end zone, that would have been a safety.
It would have been a safety. Okay, yeah, he Devin Hestered that, man.
Absolutely,
I don't even know who you compare that to. Deshaun Jackson. Something.
Who was the cat that did it for Auburn? Oh gosh, I should know this. Like, they were the ones that made it famous.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look this up now.
Chris Davis.
Chris Davis. That's right, because like the next game, Kelvin Benjamin just mosses the same dude. Don't get high on your own supply, kids. But thanks to Telemetry Sports making this possible. They are really good at what they do. They can do all of this sort of sports analytics for high school film that you get, and they can help you see what is actually going on. Whether you're like, man, how fast is that dude actually going? Because I'm going to tell you, I did not think Demetrius Gilbert had hit 20 miles an hour. Just how it was going, but he did it. Sometimes that sneaky speed will get you. Jamin Aaron a couple weeks ago hitting 17 mile an hour per second on the acceleration. Didn't think he had sped up that fast. Sometimes those will surprise you. You need to check them out for your recruiting needs. They can show you things that might not make the eye test. Next up, we're going to our what to watch for, and we've got this is going to be a fun weekend. I think 2 of these games are at 2. One's at 3, one's at 4, and one's at 7 Eastern time, God's time. Northwestern Dordt. This is really the first of 3 tests, I guess, this year for Northwestern. They have not played Morningside. They have not played Dordt. They have not played the surprising Dakota Wesleyan.
Yeah. Northwestern finally gets to show their stuff against I mean, I can't even say that because they beat freaking Drake earlier this year, but
That's true.
sure. In the NAIA, anyways, I guess. Not that, an FCS opponent is that good or anything, right? Yeah, I am excited to see the GPAC matchup. A classic. These two teams always kind of beat the snot out of each other. Dort obviously wanting to rebound from Midland a week or two ago, wanting to re-legitimize themselves, especially in the playoff picture. And I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to do it. Can they hang with the powerhouse that is Northwestern? I don't know. We'll see. That's what the game is being played for, obviously.
This is definitely a rivalry game, as these two teams, in the most amazing rural Midwest way, you can say that your rivals, you share a Walmart.
Yep. Tri-County too.
Yep. So it's actually in Dort's place. So
does it get more Iowan than that? It might not.
It might not. So this is these two schools are really close to each other. There's not going to be any love lost here. It's going to be a fantastic game. Carroll versus College of Idaho. Both of these teams have had some close calls over the last couple of weeks, and the winner of this really, well, I'll say this: College of Idaho with a loss goes to 2 losses. Carroll still has not lost a game. Period. End of statement. A Carroll win here will pave the way for them to win the Frontier easily.
Yeah. I don't even know. This is going to be an absolute brawl. Carroll, especially coming off of a very close escaping win in La Grande, Oregon. I don't know how this one's going to go. I'm super excited to see it. I feel like these Frontier teams, you see a new form of them every week, right? So it's going to be kind of crazy to see. I think Carroll, obviously, having the momentum that they brought in from last season, College of Idaho trying to reestablish themselves at the top of this conference. It's going to be a bloodbath, to put it lightly, and I cannot wait.
I will say, just from a media perspective, I'm glad it's at Carroll because College of Idaho has a paid stream. So we will actually get to watch it, which will be an absolute blast, getting to see good on good here. And it just keeps going in the Frontier as Montana Tech goes to Rocky Mountain in what feels like it's do or die.
Yeah, this is a all season long. Obviously, last week kind of proved that they battled back all the way against a top 15 Montana Western team that they just cannot finish off. And Montana Tech obviously has kind of had an up and down season. I don't know. This one could really go either way. I feel like you can't look at records for this one. And these two teams do not like each other whatsoever. This is going to be brutal, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain is 1-4 in conference. Montana Tech is 3-1, one of 3 teams with 1 loss in the Frontier. Right now, you've got Carroll at 4-0, College of 2, Eastern Oregon at 2-3, Rocky at 1-4, Arizona Christian not having a good time in the Frontier at 1-4, and MSU Northern at 0-4. Yeah. If Rocky loses, yeah, they're 1-5. They're donezo. I mean, there's a lot of people who would say that they're donezo right now. But you beat Montana Tech and you kind of make life difficult for Tech. Ooh, it's gonna be tough.
Is it going to get ugly in the Frontier again? Do we really have to do this again?
Every year. Every year.
An 8-way tiebreaker for the 15th year in a row.
Heck
Cannot
yeah,
wait. Super excited.
I am also excited about the next game, Evangel versus Friends. Like I said, this is going to be where if Friends is going to present themselves as as a front runner in the KCAC, you're going to have to take down Evangel, the undefeated Evangel.
Yep. I mean, these are two teams that kind of crept their way to the top without many people expecting this from either of them. I mean, two top 20 teams in our poll, at least, and a Friends team that is absolutely on fire against an Evangel team that has slowly crept their way up the rankings. As we previously said, triple option football has a special place in my heart because that is just the realest football there is. But I cannot wait to see these two Titans clash. It's going to be exciting. I'm really excited for this one. I'm probably going to miss out on some D1 football to watch this one. I can't lie to you.
Friends with a win would sit at the forefront of a three-way tie at the top of the Kessinger division of the KCAC. I am unsure the last time Friends has led any portion of the KCAC. Southwestern 6-1. You beat Southwestern last week. You've got that tiebreaker. You beat Evangel. You've got that tiebreaker. So you've got that basically effectively a one-game lead there. You've got a two-game lead over both Bethel and McPherson. Bethel plays Southwestern this week. So, can the Threshers get it back going? On the other side, the Bissell division is Kansas Wesleyan's to lose. 5-2, got a two-game lead over Ottawa at 2-4.
Yeah, should be interesting how the KCAC shakes out. I feel like there's a lot of teams that can take it at this point. I would give the edge to Friends, but you never know. You literally never know.
Evangel's been so good this year.
So good. Evangel's been so good.
And then the Sooner Athletic Conference. So Louisiana Christian has not played either of Tex West or Ottawa. Their grind really starts now. Yes, they dispatched Langston a couple weeks ago. Sure. Langston is the traditional winner of the Sooner. But man, Louisiana. So LC is 6-0 in the Sooner, tied with Tex West, with no losses in the Sooner. Langston, Ottawa of Arizona, both with one loss. You have to go basically cross country from Louisiana to Arizona to go play in the heat. That's a 7 o'clock kick, which is 7:65, I believe, a 4 o'clock start. In Surprise, it's going to be hot.
Yeah, it's going to be blazing hot. It's going to be interesting to see. We haven't seen Louisiana Christian affected by the travel or the heat this year all that much. And I'm kind of curious to see if that will play a factor. I think Louisiana Christian right now is a much better team than Ottawa is, but something to be said for home field advantage. There's something to be said for this Ottawa team that is always super talented. Another great one. Could really go either way. Could flip a coin for this one, probably.
I've been pleasantly surprised with Ottawa this year. I did not have a lot of expectations for them, honestly, at the beginning of the year. I thought this would be Texas Wesleyan's division to run away with. Ottawa has come out and has, surprisingly to me, put together a really good team, although I don't know why I should be surprised. They have a great coaching staff over there that knows their players really well. And was very high on them themselves, but this is Ottawa's kind of prove it game. If you're gonna vie for maybe a bottom of that 20 in the playoffs, you got to beat LC.
Yep.
You can't be third in the Sooner and get into the playoffs. That's a maximum of 2 bids, an auto bid and maybe an at-large. So, let's see. We got anything in the comment section? We've got Zach singing the fight song for Dakota Wesleyan. I'm sure everyone is enjoying the fight song over text. Thanks, Zach. Darius Holden helping us out with the Chris Davis name. Joey from Midwest Sports has been on the friend train. We were talking
all aboard the friend train.
All aboard the friend train, choo-choo.
Friend Express.
The power of friendship.
Power of friendship.
The real season is the friends you make along the way.
Or the ones that your friends run over. Yeah, that one. Here you go.
That'll do. That'll do. If you got any other comments, drop them there. We're watching. This is the audience participation part of the video. We are thankful for our friends, our patrons who keep us going week to week. And man, we really couldn't do it without them. They are thebomb.com, and they are DSU Combe, Bob Boone, Roger Meyer, Jeremy Vobble, Shirley Labella, Fred Christensen, Jerry Quickle, Ace Wellen, Marty Seabolt, Nick Ryan, Hayden Ferrigno, Kyle Gregory, Tyler Pierce, Justin Hoffman, Steve Speakman, Brian Shake, Julianne Shager, Nate Soapbeer, Stephen Cutler, Julie Lout, Tim Burrow, Dale Norton, Nathan Moore, Dylan Gonzalez, Ryan, Jason Crawford, Zach Ryherd, and Dustin Wilkie. And we are thankful for them. It's the best. We have the best patrons. There's no doubt about it. Let's take a look at a little bit at the schedule, unless someone wants to talk about something different. One game we did not talk about, and I would be absolutely 100% remiss if I did not give it any airtime at all. It's the best rivalry game in the NAIA, and there is no changing my mind about it. And that is the Franciscan Bowl. Marion plays host to St. Francis, who is only a 2-loss St. Francis. Watch out for what they're putting together. A 1 p.m. kick in Indianapolis. I'm actually looking forward to that one a lot. I think that one's going to be a fun one. St. Francis, I'm sure, thinks that they are flying under the radar, playing with house money, whatever moniker you want to put on them. We've already talked about Southwestern Bethel. That's going to be a good one, I feel like. Bethel needs to get back on track. What better way to do it than to add to Southwestern's misery? Reinhardt Point is always a closer game than it should be. That should be a fun one.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Points always puts up a good one in that one. So, man, NAI football, man.
I love it. If you like offense, yes, Dakota Wesleyan is getting votes. Not as many as last week. That's what happens when you lose. But they are still receiving votes. If you like offense, Grandview at Graceland. That should be a points fest. Grandview has a really good offense this year. Graceland likes to sling the ball around. That should be an absolutely fun matchup. Lindsey Wilson versus Cumberland's. That'll be fun. Let's see. I think that's about it from the top 25 and receiving votes. Plug my own stuff if you want to listen to me talk even more. Thomas plays at home this week against the Warner Royals, who are coming off of a 69 bounce back in whatever way they can, and Thomas would just like to get rid of the goose egg on the left side of the record. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. Looking forward to that one. That one will be on YouTube and on the Sun Digital Network if you want to hear me call the game. Let's see. Don't tell me you're sorry, Zach. You're not sorry. You're not a sorry person.
Gonna be a fun week. We're kind of getting down to the wire too. This season's flying by.
It really is. I mean, it's week 8. 1 week or 1 month from last Thursday, I believe. Yes, will be the selection show. We are 1 month away from the selection show, trying to work with the NAI to make. Zach says, "No, I'm not." Of course, we know. Trying to work with the NAI to make our coverage the best it can be. We love working with the home office. It makes our lives easier when we can pull the same direction, which is being here for the kids. That's what it's all about. And when we work together to make the best coverage, it's better for everybody. So, if there are no more, top 10 NAI rivals video would be fantastic. Oh man, there are so. Franciscan Bowl has to be up there. Trying to think of some other. I'd say Dordt Northwestern. For as lopsided as the series is, St. Francis, St. Xavier would probably be one. For sheer proximity, the Battle of Miami Gardens between St. Thomas and Miami or Florida International would be there too. There's just so many that we could name. Dakota State, Dakota Wesleyan's a good one. There's just so much hatred there.
Sure is.
Wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's to me, the Ag Bowl is just so blasé. Y'all need a good one, like good old fashioned hate or clean old
The
fashioned
Ag
hate.
Bowl is just so Midwestern football, though.
I
Is it
know.
not?
I
It's so
mean,
good.
okay, I will say this about Division One: they have the best rivalry names, bar none. I mean, clean old fashioned hate. The game between Florida and Miami is actually the battle for the Seminole War Canoe, which is freaking amazing. You've got the internet's finest, the $5 Bits of Broken Chair trophy. It's one of my favorites. Civil War Iron Bowl, third Saturday in October, third Saturday in September, I think, also with Tennessee, Florida. We need some paint bucket game with Valley City and Jamestown. We've got to get some better names here in the NAI for these rivalry matchups. I love a good trophy game. I'm a sucker. Thank you NCAA 13 for making me a sucker for trophy games. But well, for lack of further comments, we appreciate you coming along with us for the ride this week. And, well, we will see y'all next week. Last Thursday in August.